previously on Alone in the Dark.
Meet me in room 943? Oh, fuck that, I'm leaving!
Look, we gotta go. You two coming?
She is. I'm going to the museum.
The hell I am. You think I'll be safe here?
She's one of my hosts now, as you once were. I taste your fear. So many questions.
Light is Lucis, and to bring is Pharaoh. So Lightbringer is actually Lucifer.
What do you want with her?
All that is yours is mine.
100 years old.
I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation.
You don't even know who I am, Sara. Shit, I don't even know who I am. I'll come find you!
So as the life is slowly drained out of Sara, we don't really have time to think things out. Instead, we just need to act quickly and save her. Because even after we free her from that ungodly womb, she still does not appear to be breathing. And we do need to do a little bit of resuscitation via this very sudden QuickTime event. Good thing is that it is pretty lenient, especially with the button presses. And I don't think there really is a failure state for this, so I think there is a very good chance that Sara might just be able to pull through.
Just breathe.
Oh God. It was sucking the life from me. Inside I was connected to something. It spoke to me.
It's okay. It's over now. You're safe.
I could feel it. Something primal. I know what you meant now. I feel what you feel. I thought I told you not to take advantage of the situation.
Don't wander off anywhere. I won't be long.
I'll help as much as I can. Don't think you're alone in this.
I know. I'll be back soon, okay?
Okay. Hurry.
And it's time we unleash some fiery vengeance for our stolen comrade here by using this very, very handy makeshift flamethrower against very unusually large abundance of rats. Somehow the room we just left is now just swarming with these hopping monsters. And what would make matters worse is the fact that there are 2 additional nests here that will just keep on pumping them out if you don't take care of them very quickly. The good thing is that with this handy CO2 canister here and a little bit of fire, we can make a very, very proficient flamethrower, which makes pretty quick work of these guys. And you do want to take care of these guys as quickly as you can because, well, item management is going to be very, very necessary to do in this particular level. Also, as I think I mentioned previously, don't try to melee the rats or bats. It's pretty much a fool's game. We have all that cleared out. I think we should be able to start exploring the museum proper. As you can imagine, it is not going to be a straightforward journey at all. fact, it's going to take a little bit of ingenuity to make our way around this, well, pretty messed up museum at this point. Good thing is we can now get up to one of the upper levels here by using this open wire. And while initially it does seem to lead us into a dead end, it's good to take a look around, first and foremost, because we have what seems to be an inactive rat's nest up here. And upon closer inspection, well, it still does look to be just a very short dead end. But across the way there, we can see what appears to be an open doorway. It just... well, we're going to have to do something about all this wood that's blocking the way. Good thing is, we do have plenty of fire to deal with any wood that gets in our path. And as this blaze does slowly burn, you might be wondering, why is this going to take so long? And my assumption is that that previously inactive rat's nest that was behind us would have triggered once we set the wood on fire, and we would have had to deal with a whole bunch of rats while this was, slowly opening up for us. But considering I did take care of it ahead of time, we can just enjoy the blaze by jamming our face into it. Mostly because I was getting a little bit impatient, and this does take quite a bit of time to burn. Probably not the best thing to do, but we do have places to be and things to do. Now, this guy just seems to want to meet death, so I'll give him that much. Now, if you're wondering what this extremely noisy laser is for, it does appear that the museum has set up a pretty intricate security system where a number of doors will only open and close if the lasers meet. In this case, this door will open if the lasers do connect, which means we can, well, if we really needed to, we could go back and check on Sara, which is not really what I'm going to do here. More than anything, like I had mentioned previously, we do want to keep as stocked up as possible. In this case, I think we are doing pretty good. We've got plenty of explosive liquid, though mosquito spray is running pretty low. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up a few extra bullets here, because we will be going through those pretty largely. And in addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and pick up, I think, some first aid spray and some bandages, though. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and dump off the mosquito spray, just to make room for a full canister of aerosol. Can't really give up a space for something that could be used as both an explosive and a healing item, so seems like a no-brainer. Now, that isn't to say that you really need to min-max on this level. I just find that it's probably better to be as cautionary as possible, and you do want to kind of maximize your explosive items. Such as in this case, I probably don't need to use this canister to blow up these cocoons, but it probably doesn't hurt. I mean, I guess I could have used it for the horde of rats here waiting on the other side of this gate. But then again, I also just have a metric shit ton of bullets, so that also seems like a very viable option here. But man, this place is just completely infested with them. And it's even worse than we might have originally imagined, or probably that we have ever seen so far in the entire game. So this particular area can be a bit of a massive, massive hurdle to get over. You have, what, I think there were like 6 nests in there, and each one of those is just going to constantly be pumping out these little rats. And what makes matters worse is, as you probably saw from the little cutscene there, well, we're not going to be able to easily get in there and deal with the nests. Instead, we're going to have to find some way to lob some fire in there to deal with them. Though, as we do that, we're also going to have to deal with just the seemingly endless stream of little rats that it will keep pumping out. Now, you might have noticed in that previous first aid station back there that along with the first aid spray and the bandages, there was a blood pack. And you might be wondering what exactly that is used for. Well, the blood pack can be used to distract enemies, such as the bats or the rats. And it could be useful in this situation. It's just, well, I try to live dangerously or stupidly, depending on how you look at it. And I just kind of hope for the best, and it kind of works out. So in this case, we aren't going to want to shoot the bottle. Instead, we are going to want to use it as an actual Molotov. So we're just going to want to light it on fire and try to bank it off the roof. And while it does seem initially like it overshoots our initial goal, what the game really doesn't point out here is that I guess that room is just completely doused in just a flammable liquid, because once you manage to land a flame in there, the entire room just kind of implodes in fire. Also, with those rats' nests out of the way, not only can we cut off the supply of rats that are going to be attacking us, but the rats' nests that were blocking the lasers that was impeding our continued progression through the museum here are now connected, and that means we can continue forward. Though before we continue onward, there are going to be a couple of additional odds and ends that I want to make sure I go ahead and pick up. Now, that is going to require freeing up a little bit of space. I don't think I needed these additional bullets, at least for right now. And what we want to make sure and pick up here is a few handkerchiefs. Because even though I do have quite a storehouse of bandages, we are going to want specifically handkerchiefs to make the next little bit, I would say, doable. The next thing we want to make sure and get is some duct tape, though I'm going to have to drop one more item. And I guess I will drop off these batteries. I'm not really getting a whole lot of use out of them, and I can kind of stretch their usage out. And with that, I think we just need to pick up, we should probably pick up one more bottle of explosive liquid, and I think we should be good to go. Also, probably unnecessarily precautionary, I decide to make myself a little bit of a shortcut here. It's probably not going to save you a lot of time, but the next part I did fail a lot in my test run, so I was kind of trying to be probably overly cautionary. because in this puzzle, we're not only introduced to the fact or reminded of the fact that the vampires and rats are attracted to blood, and we'll just kind of focus on that. But we are also pretty much forced into learning about the use of some of the additional crafting mechanics that you can use in the game, but aren't overly necessary to do. In this case, we are not only going to be making a Molotov, but we are also going to be making the Molotov sticky. Now, the reason that we are going to want to do this is because if we take a quick look at the rat again, we'll see that it follows a very specific path. In the case that it will go to its nest, and after a while, it will come back to that puddle of blood, and we'll just kind of repeat that cycle. What we want to end up doing here is making it so that the bottle will attach to the rat, and it will bring it back to its home, destroying it, and hopefully allowing us further progress. Now, the reason you want to make sure and grab a handkerchief is because they will burn quicker than a bandage, and you kind of need that timing. Because things, in this case, are very, very timing specific. I don't know if it's actually ever covered maybe anywhere in some tutorials elsewhere, the fact that the bandages burn longer than the handkerchief, but yeah, that took me quite a bit of trial and error to really get down well. In fact, I think I actually had to fully restart the level just because I just completely ran out of bottles in here, so yeah. It can be a little bit tricky, so it's good we managed to somehow get it on our very first try. Though, in all honesty, the difficulties are just going to continue to get harder and harder as we make our way through the museum. Though it's going to become less of a problem regarding puzzle solving and more of a problem if you have not gotten used to the combat. In this case, we run into some just idling humanoid type enemies. So I figured it might be good to greet them with some explosive fiery rounds. And it's probably the best idea not to just rush blindly into that room. Instead, if you can snipe them and get them by surprise, it should make them a little bit easier to take care of. That is, if you can manage to hit their weak spots. Sadly, my fear kind of overwhelmed me here, so my aim was not as sure as it should be. So I decided to take the much easier route and just light them up. Though doing so kind of leads into a much larger problem. Since I was trying to deal with them in such a short-range manner, I ended up triggering the rest of the enemy horde that will appear in this room. And boy howdy, do you not want to deal with all these guys at once. In fact, if you possibly can, try to bottleneck them as much as possible by just not rushing into this very large room. By bottlenecking them and using the short-range flamethrower, you can make pretty quick work of them. Though I think the developer's main assumption was that you would probably run out to this much larger arena and deal with them by probably ducking around things and maybe leading them into the fire, but, you know, there's no reason to make this any more difficult than it probably already is. But hey, that was a lot better shooting. Though, I mean, even if you are running short on bullets or explosives, the designers did leave a few interesting items around here that you can defend yourself with, such as the return of that katana there, and another very imposing, almost comically oversized scimitar here. Still, you might kind of be wondering why there's still some battle music going on. And there is a very good reason for that, and also a very good reason why during this fight, if you're being chased, don't run upstairs. Also, yeah, the high ground is probably always going to have the advantage in a melee situation. I learned that from a movie. And what I also learned from a movie is, don't try to bring a sword to a gunfight. Especially when that gunfight is against 3 large, imposing, tentacle-tongued monsters. Yeah, somehow I just still am not totally getting the hang of hitting their weak spots. I suppose blinking does help a little bit, and also just, aiming properly.
Hey you! Over here!
Well, maybe it's just I need to blink for longer. It's kind of hard to tell, but hey, I think that should take care of all of them, and I did hear a voice coming from upstairs.
Hey! Are you still here? Hey, come here! I really need to talk to you.
This place is dangerous. You shouldn't be here.
Everywhere is dangerous tonight. Open the gate. I need to pass.
Thanks. This gate has kept me alive.
I'm so happy for you. How do I get to room 943?
Well, follow this corridor behind me. I'll open the gate for you.
About time.
Well, thanks. Now I'll try to get out of here. Hey, I'm not like them, okay?
Sorry about that, security guard. I'm just a bit concerned with the state of your eyes. Yeah, as you can imagine, that security guard won't open the way till you take care of all the enemies in this very large area here, so yeah, there's really no way to get around that combat situation there. The good thing is that we are slowly but surely making our way to that room that theologian, or whatever his name was, mentioned. It's just a bit concerning to hear all the roaring outside and whatever that monster was that was flying overhead, and yeah, to make matters worse, we have the return of that evil instant-kill black goo from the sewer. Thing is, though, that with a little bit of quick reflex, you can make pretty quick work of this little black goo obstacle course here. I think initially they're probably wanting you to shoot these spotlights, or the lights above, to kind of make them sway back and forth. But at least for this last little stretch here, you can just use your quick fancy footwork and flashlight and just quickly make your way across with no fuss, no muss. Finally, though, it seems that our progress is pretty quickly barred yet again. It does appear that there is some way that we might be able to open this nearby gate. If only we were authorized personnel. Now, where can we find some authorized personnel?
Hey, you! Get over here! What are you doing walking around here like some lost fool? You want to go and get yourself killed? Is that the game plan? Everybody died so fast. Bang, just like that. You best find yourself someplace to hide.
I have no time for that. I'm looking for something.
Like what?
Room 943.
Room 943? Why the hell are you looking for that? Nobody ever goes down that shithole.
Someone told me to go there.
Who? Mr. Paddington?
Yes. How would you know?
He's practically the only one that ever visits it.
You know him?
Of course I do. Worked 15 years for him. Brilliant man. Could have had such a bigger career if he hadn't chosen to stay head curator of this dusty old museum. Anyways,
What is in that room?
not a clue. You should have asked Mr. Paddington. It's almost like it became his second office these last years. Always down there working. Christ, come on. You shouldn't stay there in the open.
Tell me, how do I get to the room?
You can't. It's closed to the public.
Listen, I'm not the public.
Guess not. Thing is, you can't access it from where you are. This is the only door that leads there. So you're gonna have to come on my side of the gate first. Go down one level and through an underground tunnel. Use the forklift, it'll go faster. Everything is digitally controlled around here, so you better hope that I'm still around when you come this way. Good luck to you.
Digitally controlled? Forklifts, underground passages, that just sounds like a very roundabout way to just get to the other side of this gate. But we really don't have any other choice in the matter. Also, considering our past history with elevators and the current state of this one, I feel a little bit uneasy about this side trip. Unexpectedly, though, the side trip seems to have been cut short by the elevator breaking down. Hopefully that security guard has some other ideas up his sleeve. No, I feel like an elevator breaking down is the least of our concerns right now.
Asking for mercy.
So you assume responsibility for the blood you've shed? Well,
That's my problem. Now let's see how you beg for mercy.
And say hello to our second boss of the game and a massive step up in difficulty from that very large pillar of vampire bats from before. To deal with this guy, we want to make sure and be ready with some flammable bullets. You might already notice on his body there, he does have some smoking weak points. It'd only take a couple of bullets to take down, but once you do take care of one of them, he goes into his ultra attack, which spawns a swirling black mass, which not only proceeds to stun us, but if we do happen to be caught in it, I think will instantly kill us. We do have plenty of pillars scattered across the room here, which we can use as cover, not only for that ultimate attack, but for its just little throw spike ability here. Thing is, if you are quick, you can get rid of those armored weak spots pretty quickly. Not have to go through an additional cycle of hiding behind the pillars. Thing is, though, that is only the halfway marker in this boss fight. And if you don't know about where the few items are scattered in the arena here, well, you're going to be kind of shit out of luck. Because I found that the best way to deal with the second part of the fight here, where you do have to hit his crack weak spots directly, is, well, to use flammable explosive bottles. And they are only hidden in a very, very small area of the room. And I've kind of noticed that, well, with all the physics objects bumping around, they can just as easily bump the explosive bottles around as well, and you can kind of lose track of them. So all in all, this boss fight is just a constant stream of attacks from the boss, having to keep in mind, where his weak spots are by blinking or just using your best judgment. And then also having to keep track of what pillars are left, because, as you might notice, we are down to maybe one or two. And I fear that I think one of the bottles that I had used to try to blow up one of his weak spots was already kind of halfway drained by trying to make flammable bullets, which means that the explosion was kind of weak. Also, if you're wondering if maybe you can run up next to him to try to do a short-range flamethrower attack, I would not recommend it, because he has a stomping AoE attack that does quite a bit of damage, honestly. And as you can imagine, you don't have a whole lot of opportunities in this fight to heal. At most, I think he does a little bit of a healing attack where he'll kind of start charging up dark energy, and that's usually your best opportunity to try to get an attack yourself.
Edward, it wasn't safe there. Ah, fuck! What is that?
It's, a dead issue. Sorry you missed the fun.
I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm not. But we don't really have much choice now, do we? Time to find this room 943. I've had enough mysteries. Time for some answers.
And believe it or not, that was probably the best round of the boss I've ever had so far. Definitely was an uphill struggle in my test runs. Mostly because it's a bit hard to gauge if you're doing the proper amount of damage to his weak spots in that second phase, and yeah, it's just kind of hard to deal with an enemy that is just pretty constantly attacking you. Really makes you feel like you don't have a whole lot of time to just take in what the boss is doing, or the fact that it does have a little bit of a rest period. So, pretty difficult boss for an already very difficult stage, but we did manage to overcome. And, well, even though our security guard did not make it, we are just so very close to room 943.
We need the guard's fingerprint.
No good, he's dead.
Then he won't mind you borrowing his keys, will he?
Ah, Jesus, Sarah. You're getting worse than me.
No, it's not really been unheard of over the course of the game that, Edward has had to drag a body here and there. It's just in this case, we don't need the entire body. We just need his hand, and I do have a little bit of an idea of how to do that. Yeah, they do manage to leave a sword here for a very key reason. And some might even say that Edward had something of a disarming personality.
So many people dead.
But Sarah's right, this isn't really a time for jokes. We have, places to go. And for those of you that are wondering if the arm is a good melee weapon, I sadly can't say for sure. The next part of the game pretty much makes you drop any two-handed items you're using, so there's really not any situations that I know of that you'd be able to use it in active combat. Still, as we make our way down these dark and dank corridors here, it does really spring to mind a very large question, and that is, did Theo have to go this way to get to work every day? Because this seems tedious? It doesn't really seem like a place I'd want to continue working anyway. I suppose, though, that at least allowed him to get a lot of exercise, especially if he had to rappel his way up and down this elevator shaft every day. But you do want to be especially careful here. You don't want to fall to your death in the inky black darkness below, especially after that tenuous boss fight you probably just managed to narrowly overcome. It seems we have managed to make our way into those underground tunnels that the security guard had mentioned previously. And we managed to circumvent the use of any forklifts or digital technology, really. Like, except for that hand scanner. And wouldn't you know it, we have the return of a very tried and true old friend here. In fact, he is going to light our way, hopefully, keep us safe. There is a little bit of an ambush here. It's just sadly our horse lets us down. And we are forced to use our little makeshift flamethrower to quick work of this ambush. I suppose the horse was probably angry at us for leaving him down in the sewer. I just wish it wouldn't have come to this. Still, you do want to be very careful. You don't want to blow up that explosive canister because you will need it to open this door here, especially in case you do not have any other explosives on you. Just need to set this up, and I think we should be good to go ahead and blow it up. Though, Sarah, you should probably move a little bit more. Oh, you're fine. It's good to know. After a plethora of perils and puzzles, we have finally made it to our prize. Just what secrets lie for us behind room 943, there's only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and open the door.
Finally. About fucking time. You know, you're rather pretty when you're quiet.
Enough with the jokes. Just open it, will you?